Join me every Tuesday for fun and games and play for cash. That's right. Sylvia Mid, the fun word guessing game is back and you can come aboard and play. It's simple. Just email us your name and contact information and you are in there, baby. Yeah.
Hey, it is Smooth Tim and Larry E. And thank you for joining us on another hump day on Tim's Tidbits. What's good, Larry?
Chilling, man. We chilling, man. We good?
You're finally chilling in Texas? How'd that happen?
It happened. Yeah, it just happened.
Fall just came like all of a sudden and stuff?
Yeah, it's an accident. So.
It's like you turned one way and looked and all of a sudden, damn, fall's here. Shoot. Time to put on my jacket and stuff.
It's gonna end. It's gonna end soon. So we're gonna enjoy it right now while we can.
Yeah, we're through our peak season up north here. You know, all the leaves have completely changed and they're starting to drop. Yeah, peak season was like probably the last week and stuff. It was real colorful. Yeah, it's getting cold.
I saw the leaves changing when I was driving home. I'm like, okay, it's time. It's time now.
Oh,
the weather's going to actually change. It's not hot anymore. That's when I know when it's not going to be hot anymore. So the temperature's going to be mild now.
Yeah, when Mother Nature tells you that fall's coming strong on, is winter's almost here. Yeah, that's a good sign. I like listening to Mother Nature. She knows better than all of us, doesn't she?
Mother Nature's like E.L. Hutton. When she speaks, everybody listens.
There you go now.
Young people don't understand that. They're like, who the hell is E.L. Hutton?
Who the hell is Mother Nature? Yeah, well,
right.
She'll take, yeah. Look around the world, you see that how powerful she can really be. You know, speaking of being around the world, you and I occasionally sit there and, debate back and forth about, different domestic issues, international issues. I mean, there's all kinds of crap going on around the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anyhow, they took an interesting survey and it kind of divides it up, among, your Gen X, Gen Z, baby boomers and the such, Democratic, Republicans. It's kind of interesting to look at this different perspectives people have based upon, age groups and I guess political affiliations.
A new poll by News Nation and Decision Desk HQ shows how Americans are feeling about domestic and international issues as the presidential election approaches and as violence erupts in the Middle East. Here's how 1,000 Americans feel about the state of the world. 56% disapprove of the way President Joe Biden is doing his job. Broken by party, 85% of Democrats approve of Biden, 61% of independents, and 90% of Republicans disapprove. Respondents listed China as the biggest threat to the U.S. today, followed by Russia and then Iran. Democrats thought Russia was the biggest threat, while Republicans thought China was the biggest threat. Inflation is something most of us can agree about. 93% of Americans are concerned about it. After inflation, Democrats were most concerned about crime, while Republicans were more concerned about immigration. Respondents generally supported Israel. 49% said their sympathies lie more with Israelis, 10% with Palestinians, and 26% saying they sympathized equally between the two groups. Younger voters, aged 18 to 34, were more likely to report sympathies lying with the Palestinians than voters aged 35 to 55, or voters over age 55. 52% said they approve of President Biden's handling of the war between Israel and Hamas. 63% of the people surveyed said the U.S. is on the wrong track, with 41% of Democrats and 86% of Republicans agreeing on that.
A little bit interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, two numbers jumped out at me.
What would that be?
So Democrats disapproving. Of course they're going to disapprove with President Biden because he would.
You mean Republicans?
Yeah. Republicans approving because he's a Democrat. Of course, it always happens. Then it said, 3% of people 55 and older didn't give a damn?
With the Israel situation.
Older people don't care. We already know it's bull crap. We already half past the what century? What's 50 century?
Yeah, half a
Yeah,
century.
we only got a like good what?
Yeah, we've got 5 decades underneath us. So hey, man.
Yeah, we done seen this before. It's like I'm like it comes, it goes. It's gonna blow over. It's gonna be another war. I'm like, okay, it is what it is.
Did you?
That's the history of the
I
world.
seen the other day where Netanyahu, that Israeli guy, that prime minister, he was talking
Hmm.
about even once this conflict is over, once they get rid of all the bad guys, Israel wants to keep a footprint there for security purposes.
So they want to keep Americans there. So once
No, 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 no,
Americans
no.
invade,
Israel wants to keep a footprint there, not Americans. Americans are involved by. Well, we can talk about that in a second too. But
mm,
Netanyahu, he's that prime minister from Israel.
okay, I'm confused with Tim. A security footprint. What are you securing? Is it like a border, a piece of land?
Well, they just want
Security
to
is very.
they just want to make sure that they don't have any terrorist groups reestablishing themselves in Palestine.
Yeah, okay, that's very smart. Like that's really not going to happen.
Right.
I'm like that's what this country is based on, terrorism.
So
It's
that
happened
that
throughout
whole
the
that whole
history.
area is based on terrorism. But I mean, come
Yeah,
on.
it's like they don't understand the process.
You have people with conflicting points of views. With it's and hey, some
I'm
civil
like,
unrest. But it wasn't it interesting. I sent that little article to you about how they're talking about appropriating that money to help Israel, but they're going to snag it from the IRS budget.
I saw that. Yeah.
I was like, you know what, and what's I mean, the Republicans don't like the IRS anyhow. They hate it that it gets funded that it's able to actually maybe do a deep dive on a couple of their crony buddies rather, falsifying or padding their
Hmm.
returns, kind of like somebody else that's in court right now in New York. But anyhow,
Well, that plays in the hands then of Republicans. They're taking money from the IRS, so I guess it works out for them well.
yeah, it works out great for them. Sure do. But anyhow, speaking of money, and
Mm.
I think this is probably, I know it's difficult for all of us out there. A lot
Have we
of
ever
it.
talked about money on this show before?
I don't know if we've ever talked about really, how people are struggling financially.
Mm.
Living paycheck to paycheck. I just can't wait for the first of the month because man, do I need that damn deposit, right?
Inflation,
Inflation, everything else. I mean, hey,
inflation.
and we've been there, done that. But let's take a little video about how people feel about it all.
If you're financially stressed, you're not alone. A new CNBC Your Money survey finds 74% of Americans are stressed about their personal finances. That's up from 70% in our April report conducted by SurveyMonkey. And 37% of respondents say they're very stressed. Among the top stressors are inflation, rising interest rates, and a lack of savings. And of the survey respondents who are employed either full-time or part-time, 41% do not contribute to a 401k or company-based savings account, although the majority, 57%, do. And here's how they're funding that retirement plan. 46% are contributing as much as they can afford, 24% are putting away as much as their employer will match, 11% are saving up to this year's employee contribution limit, and 8% just save the automatic default amount set by their employer's plan. Now, in 2023, you can save up to $22,500 for retirement in a 401k plan. And if you are 50 or older, you can put away an extra $7,500 in catch-up contributions for a total of $30,000. Some plans will let you save even more through after-tax 401k contributions. But the majority of survey respondents, 56%, admit they are not on track with their yearly 401k savings in order to be able to retire comfortably.
Okay, real quick, Tim. If you depending on someone else to help you save your money, you losing the battle. You behind the power curve. You have to be in charge you have to be in charge of saving your own money, period. Whether you save it yourself or whatever you do, you cannot put it in the hands of a 401k or a Roth IRA or surely not a bank account because banks are using like 0.2%.
Oh, no, no, no.
You have to,
You buy security bonds, stuff like that actually generate some guaranteed interest.
but they're not using a lot though, man. I had some bonds and they wasn't using too much, so I canceled my bonds out and put it back in my account because I actually felt some hard times and had to cancel those out. I'm telling you,
Oh, yeah, but you
I don't
take a
have
hit when you take those out too early.
20%.
That's,
You get
yeah.
20% from the bank and 20% from the IRS, and I lost money. I lost a
Mm-hmm.
lot of money,
Yeah.
but I needed it to move my family forward.
Well, you
You
have an
know,
emergency. You have an emergency, and you have to practically utilize your money to the best of your ability.
yeah.
And if that's the resource you have available, and unfortunately, it may have an impact later on down in your life, but you may be able to recuperate that by making a positive move.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, Tim, the best way I've had them all. I had the 401k, had the Roth IRA when I was in the army. I was younger. I've had my personal savings, had the bank savings, any kind of I invest in stocks and bonds, the whole nine. The best way to save money is to not use credit cards. Don't get into debt using revolting credit like credit cards and crap like that because the interest rates are too high. And if you do use credit cards, just pay it off immediately just in case you have to. Or if you make a big purchase like a car or a home, always pay into the principal. Pay more than what you should pay every month, but make sure you don't go upside down for what you're paying for. You don't want to be house poor, and you want to be paying $1,000 a month for a Mercedes Benz.
Oh, as impractical as it
So
sounds, you're right. If you're sending
it'll
an
be
extra,
reasonable.
$20 a month towards your house payment, you're knocking down principal, and you're going to save in the
Yeah,
long run. You're right.
I'm telling you, every
Over the
car I've
term
ever
of the loan, 30-year loan, shoot, you'll be saving all kinds of
Yeah.
money.
Every car I've ever had, I either
Mm-hmm.
paid cash for it or if I bought it, I extended it to 8 years and had a higher interest rate, but I always paid it off in like not 8 years. I say 6 years, and I always paid it off within the first 3 years, and I saved all that interest. I've never extended my car loan past that. Even if I had if you want to say one thing, if you had to get an apartment, get a roommate, or if you have a buy a home, release out some of your property. It's ways to save money where you ain't got to depend on someone else to
That's
help
a
you
smart
generate your
move.
income.
Yeah, you have the ability to lease, and especially if you live like in a university town and you have a grad
Hmm.
student,
Yeah, get a roommate.
somebody a little bit mature that needs a room, rent them a room.
Yeah, don't have kids if you ain't
And don't have kids if
get
you're dirt
married.
poor, right?
Well,
If you need the
yeah,
money.
if you poor, don't get married and have kids. If you're not willing to take care of your wife and your kids, don't do it because you're gonna stay poor and you really got to work that much harder
But I
to
found it
go through it.
interesting that, yeah, well, and over 40% of people aren't doing anything. They're not,
They
they're not,
they don't.
not making any plans whatsoever. They can't because, they're financially strapped.
But a lot of times they're overspending. They're taking vacation they shouldn't take. They make
There
large
may be
purchases
those
they
things
shouldn't
too.
make.
You're correct.
Yeah, so it's a lot of. I did it all, Tim. One thing about finances, I'm very, very experienced because I done failed so many times, and my failures have given me the knowledge to say I got it now.
Well, we've all
Because you
been there
got
and
it.
done that. We've gotten radical with our tax return money when we could have maybe been a little
Yeah,
bit
because
smarter. And
at the end of the day,
let's go to
at the end,
Vegas. Yeah, or
yeah,
some
at the end of the day,
crazy.
you got to do three things. You got to eat. You have to have a place to stay. Number of phrases. You got to eat, have a place to stay, and have an automobile. Clothes come with it, but you got to eat. Let's go with automobile and the place to stay. Those gonna be your biggest purchases. Rent and automotive,
And
biggest purchases.
and that thing was
Am I right
talking.
or wrong?
You're
Over
100%
the
right,
long run.
and that's what bothers people. You've seen from that little video that we played earlier as far as what's bothering people. It is the financial struggle. It is rising interest rates. People feel like they're in chaos. What's interesting about that is in times of chaos. Check this out. What do we decide that we really want to do? We want to talk and have a authoritarian
Human
leader.
nature can be very confusing. On the one hand, humans have this incredible ability to cooperate in large numbers with complete strangers. And on the other hand, under the right circumstances, humans are the most brutal and ruthless creatures on Earth. Nothing illustrates this contradiction better than trying to understand why some people love and support dictators, fascism, and other types of authoritarianism. Academically speaking, there are two main schools of thought when it comes to explaining why some people support authoritarians. One has to do with safety, and the other with biology. Let's take a look at each one. A recent study in the United States showed that people living in zip codes with a history of economic hardship were more likely to support authoritarian qualities in their local leaders. This finding is consistent with a 3-decade study analyzing the values and opinions of people around the world. That study shows that when a group feels economic uncertainty, they not only tend to favor more authoritarian leaders, they are more willing to suspend democratic norms and excuse unethical behavior. What's interesting about these studies is that the correlation holds true regardless of political ideology. As long as they were experiencing economic hardship, people who consider themselves liberal or conservative were equally as likely to increase their support for authoritarian type leaders. Researchers believe that economic and social instability triggers a feeling of powerlessness that makes people look towards strongman figures as a source of safety and strength. Authoritarian leaders are usually pretty good at giving people the impression that they're going to fight on their behalf. The other school of thought digs deeper into human nature and biology, and it makes the entire situation a little more complicated. A global survey conducted at the end of 2016 found that about 1/3 of responders across 29 democracies supported authoritarianism to some degree. However, this authoritarian support remained dormant until a threat activated it. It didn't matter if the threat was real or perceived. In other words, economic uncertainty may not be making people more authoritarian friendly. It may just be awakening the 1/3 of the population who is already authoritarian friendly to begin with. The authoritarian mindset is defined as a belief in absolute obedience to authority. And when asked about the qualities that should be encouraged in children, authoritarians tend to prioritize obedience, good manners, and being well behaved over things like independence, curiosity, and thinking for oneself. In the United States, an online survey towards the end of 2017 showed that an authoritarian mindset was the sole statistically significant variable that predicted support for Donald Trump. If 1/3 of the population is already predisposed to an authoritarian mindset, this might explain why dictators around the world rarely see their support numbers dip below a certain threshold, no matter how bad things get. So, what can you do? There are two main things we can do. Based on these studies, it seems like a sizable percentage of the world's population may be hardwired to crave authoritarian leadership. And that tendency gets activated when there's economic and social uncertainty. So the first thing we can do is support policies that create economic and social stability. The more stable we can be, the less likely that these tendencies will get triggered in a small percentage of the population. The second thing we can do is simply outnumber them. Trying to change the mind of an authoritarian is a completely futile endeavor. The best thing we can do is constantly outnumber them at the ballot box and in everyday life to keep them in check. Human nature is always growing and evolving, and the more we're aware of our own weaknesses and tendencies as a species, the easier it'll be to address them. Peace.
Yeah, what do you think about all those little triggers that would drive a person to seek authoritarianism?
It's game, man. I kind of see where it's going.
It made a little bit of sense to me. That's why I picked that video up. I'm like, you know what?
I myself, I see it, but I don't think that way. But I see what they're saying. I know a lot of people, and most of the poor people that love Trump and guys like that. I'm not saying Trump is a bad guy, whatever, or all those other guys. It's just that I know that economic uncertainty and all that stuff. Poor people love guys like that.
And I'm not knocking anybody for who they don't support, but I found it quite interesting. Excuse me, when you go up through the Panhandle up towards Amarillo out of Dallas, and you get into some of the little burgs. I mean, and they're very economically poor. It's obvious. And you just see Trump, and it's like it always amazed me. I'm like, you know, how can you be so pro-Trump when there's economic advantages happening to you right now, especially like with the stimulus package that Biden put in with the infrastructure bill to get stuff done. But still, I mean, are they that scared? I mean, is it part of this, like with this video that we were watching? Is there triggers? I'm economically hardship.
I'm gonna be honest.
We might be going to war. I'm scared. What?
I'm gonna be honest, man. Donald Trump, he make people want to fight. He make people want to stand up and fight for the country that's not theirs. America does not belong to the people. America belongs to the government. It always belongs to the government. The Civil War, all the wars we had in America, it was the government fighting against everybody else that wanted to take control. The governments won every single war in America, period. That's why the government, the federal government, is in charge of everything. He makes people want to fight against the government, even though he's with the government, which is crazy. It's just that rich people and politicians and all those other guys, they know what's going on. But it's just that the small man, the small woman, the regular person, they just falling victim to the narrative. They fall victim to the narrative. I'm like, this is not our country. The country belongs to the government. Every country in the world belongs to their governments. It doesn't belong to no people. It never has. It's belonged to the dictator, the king, the queen, the prince, and the presidents. It's always belonged to them. And they always have their boards and their house, their senates that regulate and control that. So come on, people. People, I'm gonna say something, but that's how it is.
No, I mean, you're 100% correct. Tuesday, here in Ohio, we voted on abortion and marijuana. And it'll be interesting because it's still got to go through the Senate so that it gets passed into law, right? And I mean, they can drag their feet on that kind of crap still forever. Because,
Yeah, but you can vote all you want, but it just the city belongs to the local government and the federal government.
Yeah.
It doesn't belong to you. I ain't saying
still,
don't vote.
You have a voice. You can make a difference. Hey, get in the government and make that difference. Just don't take the grease.
We all have a voice. We should vote. But at the end of the day, let's be logical. I'm just saying.
Sometimes they try to negate our vote. We talked about that last week. Sometimes they try to come up with creative ways to make sure that you can't get there and vote.
Yeah.
Or you got to.
I'm saying don't run up on the Capitol and destroy the Capitol and all that crap that my ancestors helped to build. Your ancestors helped to build. And all our ancestors have to build. Don't let this fool get you caught up in the narrative. You go destroy stuff that we built together that we don't even equally share together. That's all I'm saying. But at the end of the day, the government belongs to the people of America and all the other countries that the governments control, because they're the ones that make sure the governments have funding to operate.
Yeah, you're right. Don't you trigger something. Don't be running up on Washington. There was, I believe it was Tuesday. Maybe it was Tuesday. Some guy was running around D.C. right with a weapon and freaking people. And yeah,
messing with the wrong people.
And he was walking up towards Capitol Hill and all that crap. They had to tase his ass, and yeah, it was. I'm like, you know what? He was a convicted felon out of Atlanta, Georgia.
And so, what was his problem? What's his motive? I'm like,
apparently they tried to ask him to stop, and he wasn't listening and did jack shit. So they tased his ass.
He didn't give a fuck.
He didn't care. Speaking of that, hey, did you see? Speaking of gun violence,
oh shit!
Over the past weekend, I believe it was Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
Down in Cincinnati, Ohio, home of the Bengals, the Jangles. They had a shooting, and unfortunately, there was children around.
Joining us for WCPO 9 News, I'm Brett Bagansky. Cincinnati police officers are still looking for the person who shot and killed an 11-year-old boy. This was a drive-by shooting Friday night in the West End. Today, we found out 5 of the 6 people shot were kids. They include a 12-year-old boy, 13-year-old boy, 2 15-year-olds, a boy and a girl, and a 53-year-old woman. WCPO 9 News reporter Madeline Otterly shows you what the 11-year-old's father said and the message from law enforcement.
If you saw something, say something. That is the message tonight after someone fired 22 rounds at a group of kids.
Isaac Davis is burying his 11-year-old son, killed in a drive-by shooting Friday.
I'm just asking anybody that know anything to come forward, please. Just please come forward, we're begging.
Police declined to provide specifics on their search for the suspect, but said the shooter fired 22 rounds from a dark sedan at a group of children.
That spot was a safe haven for the neighborhood.
A spot children should have felt safe. Now the trauma could last a lifetime.
It's been building, the trauma's been building for a while.
So many children knew of and played with the victim. The trauma that we are now forced as a community to deal with does not go away.
A damn shame. All those kids.
That's some gangster stuff, bro.
I mean, I'm sitting there thinking, I'm listening to you had all these victims. I mean, basically under 12.
Yeah, because you got to think about the motive. Who's going to ride around
I
and
mean,
shoot a
what
bunch
was
of
what
kids?
was that?
Something
What was a 54-year-old woman? I mean, what was she slinging crack or some shit? I mean, what was the motivation?
It had to be like a family issue, or it had to be one of those kids that was doing some dirt. I'm like, at the end of the day, Tim, them gangsters, they don't give a damn, man. They'll spray
But
anything and anybody.
and you know
And it's
that's the
sad.
problem. You know that's they want. I understand where the father's coming from, to where if you've seen something, say something, and then let's revert back to there's a code in the hood.
Yep.
The code is
Something like
you don't want them driving by and shooting your ass. That's the code, right? Let's keep it real.
right. Did they specify what time those kids were out there and what time of night or in the morning or whatever?
They didn't. I don't think they even told the time
Didn't
of
get the
day. Really.
details. That's why I said I want to hear all the details before because I
But it doesn't matter.
This,
What they've done here in Toledo is repping the mud.
yeah, well, I think it does matter, Tim.
They have a line you can call that it's like an inconspicuous line. You don't have to leave name, nothing. You can just leave, hey, well, it was Larry E. and he was driving his black pickup truck and he drove behind, blah, 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 blah. And hey, it's all anonymous.
Well, I think it matters because that's some gangster stuff, drive-by stuff.
No,
that's the code. So that's why it matters. It matters to the person that did the shooting. It like to everybody else, it's tragic, but the person did the shooting, they felt justified. They felt that whatever they did, whoever they killed or shot, it was supposed to happen. They don't feel bad about it. But that's the code. That's the world that they're living in. Now, the problem with that is that could have been prevented. Why did that person do what they did? Why were they going by the code? Was it because of economic issues? Was it because they didn't have a mother and father in their life? Is because all this the backstory leads up to those kids getting killed. A lot of people just see the killing. I'm like, a lot of things could have happened to prevent that man or woman or whoever did the shooting to stop that. Even with mental health issues, a lot of stuff could have happened before the shooting happened. But a lot of people drop the ball. And then when the shooting happens, I'm like, no, that's bad. It's tragic, but something could have been prevented. It could have been down the line.
So intervention before it happened.
Exactly, intervention. That's all it is, and that's why they're not giving all the specifications. Because why are you not giving all the details? What's really going on?
Well, that's the same thing with that school shooter. The parents ended up getting slammed. I guess they pleaded guilty to supplying him with a gun. What's that? Well, I can't even think about which one that was. Been so many. Yeah. I mean, they enabled the kid. Yeah.
That could have been prevented.
That could have been prevented, sure. People take action, Not necessarily if you see something, say something. If you see something, do something. Intervene.
Yeah.
If your kid's going through that kind of crap, or you see the neighbor's kid going through that kind of crap, or somebody at work going through that kind of, do something, say something to them, hey, and then if you think it needs to go past that point, we'll take it past that point.
Okay, if you're giving your kids the guns, make sure they got guns, and they're pissed, they got mental issues, then something bad going to happen. Yeah. So that could have been prevented. So we live in a world where we all concerned, we all shocked by the aftermath, but we're not shocked by the pre-math. That kid something could have happened to that individual that people should have been shocked by, but they're like, oh, fuck him. Now he done killed some kids. That's bad. I'm like, okay, why you weren't shocked by what happened before he decided to kill the kids? We got to be shocked before and try to prevent that. And it's sad because drive-bys are so old school and so old, and we should be past that by now.
Oh yeah, I mean,
it's sad that we still doing that in 2023.
That's gangster stuff. They used to do, yeah. That's bad. That's back from the 20s and 30s, man. I mean, come on, drive-bys.
That's so old. I'm like, why are we still doing it? You would think as people, the intelligent individuals that we are, we would move forward from doing something so elementary and barbaric.
Some Al Capone stuff, right? I guess Al Capone's the way he decides that he wants to handle business still lives on.
Listen, this is how I look at it, Tim. Shit happens. But if you mad at an individual, don't take it out on everybody else around them. Take out that individual, and then you suffer the consequences. Don't kill 4 or 5 other people, shoot 7 other people, 30 or 40 other people. If you mad at that person, if I'm mad at you, I'm gonna take it out with you. I'm gonna say, hey, what's up?
Oh yeah.
They go shoot all about around you, whatever. No, the people cowards, cowards, man.
Hey man, speaking of gangsters, apparently, I guess you'd call him maybe a gangster. This dude was living in a vacated home, I guess, but this dude was wheeling and dealing out of the home. But check out what happened once they got into the home to do some work from the property owner asked them to do.
Under the heading, you don't really know what's happening behind closed doors. A frightening example of that tonight in Queens.
At an abandoned house in the community of Belrose, a big-time drug dealer secretly in business and with an inventory of illegal drugs worth more than $10 million on the streets.
And rent for this business? Not a dime. Here's Joe Torres.
Yvonne Flores retreated to the comfort of her home after the mother of 3 shared the fears and anxieties of a dreadful reality. The abandoned house just 2 doors away served as the home base for a major drug trafficker.
It's terrible. It's terrible for me, for my family, that my son every day playing in the upside.
At her office this morning, Queens District Attorney Melinda Katz displayed just some of the confiscated drugs found in the 2-story house on 88th Road in Belrose, all with a street value of more than $10 million. There were 8 kilos of heroin, fentanyl, and cocaine, 1.5 million small envelopes filled with a mixture of those drugs. Investigators also found handguns, gun parts, and hundreds of rounds of ammunition. The police investigation into what happened here started with a tip. A contractor hired after the recent sale of the property came to the home and went inside for a look. And what did he see? Gun parts, firearms, drugs. He immediately called 911.
Yeah, he kept the money. Bro, I don't mess with drugs. I'm not a gun guy, but I'm keeping that money.
Yeah, I wonder if the contractor found any money. They found drugs. They found guns. $10 million worth of drugs. Oh man,
there's got to be some money in there somewhere. I'm keeping the money. I'm not going to deposit it, but it's getting kept.
A contractor's rich.
Name. And they said the lady name, Evelyn Gonzalez. I'm gonna say the lady name.
Because we're gonna revert back to the code of the hood. Well, bye.
That was a stash house. That's all it was. It was a stash house.
That's a lot of money, man. Somebody that's gonna hurt somebody's pocket for a minute, no matter how you look at it.
Yeah, no. Think about this. What if they were like moving it for a big time dealer? So the person that got busted is responsible for that $10 million worth of shit. So then that person is finna die. Because you done got lost $10 million worth of the person that you're supposed to be moving it for. Because think about it, you're not the big dog if you got a stash in the.
Yeah, you know how it works. You're responsible for the product. When I give you $10 million back up. When I give you the product, you're responsible for the product. So hey, if I can't help it that whatever happened, but you owe me $10 million.
Imagine what the person that had it in there is feeling right now. I bet they gotta feel sick as shit, and it had to be some cash in there. So you know what the numbers would be. It's always more than $10 million. It's way more than that. They ain't gonna say all this stuff. Cops there keep some of this stuff and split it up. I'd
be going someplace where nobody would be looking for, like Guatemala. Why would somebody ever want to go there?
I'm like, dang. 10 million? It was probably 20 million.
That's just a chunka.
Somebody in trouble, man.
Absolutely.
Some boys in trouble. You're gonna get clipped.
Hey, speaking of somebody that's gonna get in trouble, maybe you won't get in trouble, but I got to show you something that happened on a damn jet. This is amazing, and it makes you feel so safe to fly. Besides, our pilots that could be on some type of drug.
We're back now with scary moments aboard a JetBlue plane, a fire erupting after a passenger's backpack suddenly exploded. As Tom Costello reports, the FAA says it's just the latest incident aboard a plane involving lithium-ion batteries.
It happened as the JetBlue flight was still boarding. Flight attendants and passengers poured water on Jimmy Levy's backpack after a battery or charger caught fire.
A giant explosion came. and the ball of fire, which was my backpack, came right towards my face. I was shocked.
JetBlue says its crew immediately responded and addressed the situation. It comes as the FAA reports stunning data. So far this year, 60 onboard battery incidents through early October, more than one every week. In March, a Spirit Airlines flight made an emergency landing after a passenger's device caught fire. 10 passengers to area hospitals.
The fire is out, and it's in the lab.
In February, an emergency landing in San Diego after a battery pack caught fire. The problem, lithium batteries can overheat, going into what's called thermal runaway. It's why the FAA doesn't allow batteries in checked luggage.
If a fire breaks out in the cargo hold, it's something you can't see because it's beneath the floor, and that could have catastrophic consequences because you have no access to try to put it out.
And lithium-ion batteries are in everything from phones to tablets, vape pens to laptops, hundreds on every plane, also leading to home fires with serious injuries. An important warning as we go into the busy holiday travel season. More people traveling with lithium-ion devices or receiving one as a gift.
Here they go scaring us again. Lithium batteries.
Lithium batteries. It's in everything, folks. It's in everything you own. Lithium-ion batteries.
They're scaring us again. They're not scaring me. I'm like,
beware the battery.
When you can't use batteries, bro.
Well, thank God that though when that exploded, they said it was on the ground. Yes.
Well, then,
you imagine that? Wouldn't that trip you out? And you're up in the middle of the air, and this guy's battery pack is,
Didn't they say that those batteries explode when they get a certain altitude or something like that? Is it altitude?
Altitude.
Altitude. Can they say when they go to a certain altitude, then they explode?
I don't know
how
about
do you
that.
explode on the ground?
How overheated? Apparently, he may have been overusing it. I mean, have you ever used your phone excessively and you felt to get warm?
And I was charging it with a charger. I got a charger I might use.
Well, see, sometimes, I mean, they could, even happen in that incident. I think that's how it's happened in some of these homes that they were showing, where this, for whatever reason, the battery overheated, go through that, whatever that condition they said was. And, yeah, man.
So then we need to find more alternatives.
So, yeah, you should. I would never just, leave my phone laying around for any time where I'm not going to be able to pay, attention to it. Don't just have it laying in some room charging up for a couple of hours and you're not paying any attention to it. That could happen.
Luckily, nobody got hurt, but now you can't use batteries.
I mean, what are they doing with these new iPhones? Didn't they have some type of incident with these new iPhones, the 13, 15, 20, whatever the hell the new model is, that it was overheating?
Can you imagine the women that's using lithium batteries and the vibrators?
Oh, well, the overheating part wouldn't bother them.
It would blow the hell up. So, wait a minute, it's warm. Okay. Saying lithium batteries are dangerous?
Apparently, man. Apparently, brother.
You worried about damn racism. Forget racism and racism.
Watch them batteries, Don't worry about Republicans, Democrats, or what's going on in Gaza.
Better worry about
worry about your lithium battery. That's what's gonna get you.
Everything is dangerous now. Drive-by shootings, batteries are just as dangerous as drive-by shooting. But no, think about it. It is dangerous in drive-by shooting because a whole plane can go down.
Wait, and the other part of it is also you're these new cars. How many times have they had some of these cars? Well, don't charge your car in the garage because it could catch fire.
What?
So I just bought this. So I just bought this $60,000 plus car. Now, if I got to charge it outside because it might catch my house on fire.
Hey, that's the chances you got to take, bro. No risk, no reward. That's what we do. Is we move forward, we evolve. We using lithium batteries now, and now we know. So people got to be smart. Now we know.
Okay, people just be smart.
Keep them out your vibrators, women.
Let's get to Larry's favorite part, man. Let's go to our asshole award, and we've talked a little bit about what's going on with up there in the North Country with that university, and apparently one of their coaches had to resign, but Check it out.
The alleged scandal rocking college football, the University of Michigan staffer at the center of an investigation into alleged sign stealing, stepping down from his position. ABC's Alex Brochet joins us with the latest. Alex, good morning.
Good morning, Whit. Marquee programs like Ohio State across the Big Ten are paying attention to this. This morning, the number 3 college football team in the country shrouded in scandal and uncertainty.
Yes, sir. Donovan Edwards, touchdown, Michigan.
Fresh off a big win last night, a scandal leaving one of the nation's top college football program seasons in jeopardy. On Friday, the University of Michigan announced Connor Stalions, the Wolverine football analyst at the center of this investigation, resigned. According to ESPN, sources tell the network Stalions is accused of buying tickets to more than 35 games around the country featuring Michigan opponents. He allegedly also paid hundreds of dollars to have coaching signals along the sideline recorded. Allegations Purdue's head coach addressed ahead of last night's game.
We know for a fact that they were at a number of our games. We've had to teach our guys a new language in terms of some signals, and we will operate differently.
And while sign stealing isn't illegal, the NCAA Code of Conduct states off-campus in-person scouting of future opponents in the same season is prohibited. The NCAA is investigating. Pressure now building on the Big Ten Conference to take action.
It is an extreme schematic advantage if you know what the other team is going to run before they run it. Some coaches say it's as much as a 10-point swing in a game.
Last month, Wolverine fame head coach Jim Harbaugh denied any involvement in his team's scandal, saying, "I do not have any knowledge or information regarding illegally stealing signals, nor have I directed any staff members or others to participate in an off-campus scouting assignment." In a statement to The Athletic, Stalions saying, "I do not want to be a distraction from what I hope to be a championship run for the team." His attorney adding, to Stalions' knowledge, neither Coach Harbaugh nor any other coach or staff member told anyone to break any rules or were aware of improper conduct.
The Big Ten has to come to a decision, and I would expect one in the next 72 hours or so, on will there be a punishment for Michigan in real time that impacts this year?
Now, the Big Ten has said due to the ongoing nature of this investigation, it will not comment. But keep in mind that Ohio State is UM's biggest rival. These two schools scheduled to play at the end of the month, a chance at a possible national championship on the line here. So you better believe, Janae, that the Buckeyes are paying attention to how this plays out.
Has that...
Interesting.
They got a lot. They got a lot of evidence, and I mean, I can't believe that Harbaugh is like, "Oh, I didn't know anything about it." It's like, come on, man. Come on.
The other guy, he was a soldier. He said they didn't know it's all a scam.
Now think about this. Okay, we know the other team's signals, right? So I'm up in the press box, boom, binoculars, right? Okay, literally, they're calling in a inside slant to the wide receiver.
Okay.
And all you have to do is, signal your defense. They got it nailed.
Okay,
I can understand that.
But our country is came to this. Instead, our country don't, for one thing, we outsource a lot of the things that we use in America, and it's imported in because we don't want to pay the people here to make the merchandise or whatever, so we outsource it. So that's a cop out, So and then people in the country, they don't work hard like they used to anymore. The working hard and the pride in doing that is no longer existent. Now, when it comes to football, same thing. Instead of training your guys to work hard and be proud on the field and go out there and do a good job, let's make it easy for them. And it's still the signs. It's spoiled. Like Americans are spoiled. A lot of our people in our country are spoiled because this country makes it easy for us. They don't give us any money, but they make it easy for us to make excuses. Okay, so Michigan just basically played into the hands of what this country is really based on find an easy way out, and that's all it is.
I agree with 90% of what you said. The only thing that I would disagree with is sometimes when it comes to the country people, do they work hard? Sometimes I don't think they have the ability to work hard anymore. I mean, you have to actually be able to actually be profitable. A country person to be profitable, I mean, you got to have a few hundred acres.
No, I'm not talking about us. I'm talking about working hard when it comes to the people that control everything.
But yeah, I
Those
mean, there are a
entertainment
lot of
politicians, they
of,
cut.
let's call them, and I don't want to use the term lazy, but I shall,
Yeah, they
people
make deals and
that
cut
will,
deals.
you know, utilize the government's resources when they really don't need to, you know, for, you know, whatever type of support may be bestowed upon them.
I'm gonna stick with that. What I'm saying, the a lot of our American people here are spoiled, and
In a lot
they
of
don't have
ways.
to work hard. They don't have to work hard anymore. I've been on jobs where I've seen people get hookups instead of. I've seen people give their friends jobs instead of giving to the next qualifying person. I've seen
A
people with
little bit of
seniority.
nepotism.
Yeah, I seen people with seniority don't do shit, but then again, you got the hard working people that do all the work and don't get no kind of accreditation or kind of attention or anything from that. I'm talking about the ones that's been spoiled and the ones that's getting over on the game. Same thing with football. These kids, they're finding ways to cheat so it can make it easy for the kids, so those colleges can become profitable. They don't want to just lose and go back to the drawing board and work hard to win. They just want to find a way to cheat so they can win and get the money and then spoil the kids and then spoil themselves.
And it's
And I'm
all
like, what
about,
about
well, think of like, think of the money that's involved. Okay, let's say that you are from the team up north, and you have you're number three in the nation. You could possibly, you know, be heading towards a national title, and a lot of this profitable win margin came from you know, possibly sign stealing. You know,
Mm-hmm.
is it worth it? Well, look at the income that the school's going to make off of, you know, swag sale, you know, uniform sales, all this stuff. The players are going to make the, you know, television coverage, all this BS.
They
So
made the
it's,
money
you know,
already
they're making
before they got caught.
tons and tons of cash.
The risk is worth it.
So you know, yeah, they look at it, yeah, in that probably perspective. Is the risk is worth it?
It might not catch
Not
us.
that Ohio
But
State, not that Ohio State would ever do that, but anyhow.
yeah, but all I'm saying when I say people are spoiled and lazy, all I'm saying the ones that know they are spoiled and lazy.
Hmm?
I'm not saying all. I didn't say all Americans. I said Americans. I speak it from a my point of view, what I'm seeing.
You gotta,
Uh,
you gotta put us all
I've
in
been
a
around a
hobo.
bunch of
We're in one gigantic hobo stew, hobo
bro.
stew.
I've seen
Yep,
I've seen all of them. I've been around all
we
of them.
all
Black, white,
lazy.
Hispanic. No, I didn't say all of them are lazy, but there's some lazy bastards that's pulling the hard workers down, and then the ones that are getting over with the cheating and stuff like that, they steady going up and going up, but then the hard workers are getting scammed, and the lazy people are pulling us down. That's what I'm saying.
Mm, mm, mm.
You know if you work hard or not. So if somebody say I ain't lazy, then you probably are.
You
You
know,
know, like if I say, man, you lazy, you be like, no, bro, I work hard every day. I do this and do this. So I know I'm not lazy. But if you don't work hard every day and I say you lazy, I ain't lazy.
hang on a second, Larry. I want to have you close us out here for just a second.
And actually,
Bam, man, what's up?
hey, check this out, man. Check me out on Facebook, LRE Fitness Solutions. We keep you moving. Also on IG, LRE Fitness Solutions. We keep you moving. And you can check out my personal Facebook, Estelle, Estelle Larry. I got a lot of stuff on there also. Check both of them out. Real quick, I try to talk about training and personal training, weightlifting, cardio, all that, eating healthy, but listen to your body. Recently, I went and got a couple of shots. One's a flu shot. It kind of made me feel bad, and I got another shot pertaining to my health. You know, ain't no STD or nothing like that. What's the name of that shot, Tim? I got. I keep forgetting the name of it.
Shingles.
Shingles. I got the shingle shot. Then I got the flu shot. And I felt like crap. And I was going to work out today. I said, I'm going to go work out. And I felt like crap. Then I thought about it. I said, man, I feel bad already. And if I work out, I'm going to feel worse. That means it's going to set me back 2 days of my workout. I'm cool with missing one day. I don't want to miss 2 or 3 days. So make sure you listen to your body. Anytime you're not feeling yourself and you know if you're yourself, go ahead and take that break. Don't do it. Don't exercise. Don't work out. Just fall back and just get the rest you need and then move forward the following day or the 2 days. You don't want to set yourself back multiple days. All right. Because it's going to happen. Check me out. LRE Fitness Solutions. as we keep you moving. IG, also on Facebook, Estelle Jr., Larry, same thing, IG, Facebook. Holla at me.
I like it. Sometimes, what do we say? Sometimes, say, if you see something, say something, do something. Sometimes, if you're feeling like crap, hey, do nothing. Give your body a break. But hey, as we was talking about all the different stuff going on around us, looked at all those little surveys and things that people are concerned about, you have the ability to make a difference in your neighborhood, your city, your state, or even perhaps nationally. When you see inequities, discrimination, injustice, or if you see your fellow man just in need, do something or say something. Be the one that makes that positive gesture, the one that says that positive motivating word, or simply show your passion or your cause. Follow that passion or that cause and make a positive impact on this world, in your neighborhood, community, for everyone.
Acknowledge, baby. That's how we do it on the show.
That's right, and that's
Listen
how I
to your
feel.
body.
I said many times I'm very nonpartisan. I don't lean one way or the other. I believe that equity for all. I guess you'd call me a kind of an independent individual.
I call it the way I see it. If I haven't seen it,
right. Be fair to everybody, and as he said, contribute.
Yep. Like I said, if I haven't seen it, I ain't gonna call it. I'm not gonna talk on it, because if I've seen it, especially when I say people are lazy Americans, I know I'm a true American. I am a true American.
And that's very, very true, Larry. Everybody has something to offer. Get off your lazy butt and get her done. Anyhow, let's get the heck on out of here, because I am ready to bounce. Peace, and until next week, Larry and I are out of here, man. Bye.